So this lovely motor right here behind me, the ZC32S or Suzuki Swiss Sport Mark II if you will, has been in my ownership for more than a year now. Let me say a year and a half at this point. Year and some change, let's round it off to that. And I'm going to tell you in this video what it's been like owning this car for the past time and whether you, the individual right behind this, well, camera screen or monitor let me say, should invest in one. So let's get on with it. So as stated at the beginning of this video, I have put on 20,000 Ks on this car. So I got it at 93,000. I'm the second owner of this vehicle and it's about hitting 13,000 at this point. So right now I'm going to tell you a little bit of how I've got on with this vehicle. So we can start with the bad stuff as what has actually gone wrong with this car. And mechanically this vehicle has been sound. Only things that I've had really are just cosmetic issues, and that was as a result of the previous owner. So things like little dings and just a few cracked parts that needed some fixing, but that was about it really. Mechanically, no, as I've stated, but I did have a small problem with the ECU of this car. But however, that was as a fault from the previous dealer who sold the car to me. And what they did basically was they put the wrong size battery in this car, and as a result of that, the car started behaving a bit funny in terms of how it managed its fuel economy. But after a proper battery change later and a quick disconnect of the battery as well, in addition to changing the battery, now the car is sorted. It doesn't give any issues at all and it behaves as it should. So no major issues to report. This has been a very reliable car. Okay, talking about spares and dealership service, it really isn't much of a problem getting spares for the Z32 Swift. I mean, it's a relatively new car, and on top of that, it also has a large aftermarket spares community. I mean, in Japan and also Europe as well. So really getting parts shouldn't be too much of an issue, and even modded parts as well on top of that. But also, getting stuff from the dealership isn't much of a problem, and it's honestly not that expensive as you'd expect it to be. I mean, brakes are not too much of an issue, and even just, things that could go wrong in the vehicle, but this car is just so strong and so reliable, you don't really have to worry much about that. And now going on to the topic, let's segue into the dealerships. Now I primarily service my car at the BrandenDJ dealership, and it's been a pleasurable experience, and I've heard good things about the other dealerships around the Johannesburg area as well. And they take care of your car, it's polite service, and it's very, very welcoming. You really do feel as if you are part of the family when you go and deal for Suzuki. And I've really had a good experience with Suzuki BrandenDJ, so thanks to you guys, big ups to that. So everyday life with this vehicle. Now, dealing with the Suzuki Swiss Sport on a daily basis really isn't much of an issue. Now, you wake up in the morning, you go start the car, let it heat up a little bit, and of course be easy with it when you start off in the mornings. The clutch is soft, it doesn't chew all that much fuel. I mean, what I calculated, just getting to a tank, I get around 500 Ks urban on this tank. So really fuel economy isn't much of a problem in this car. And on top of that, just getting home from work, revving out this car, I mean, you're going to be living in VVT a lot of the time because, trust me, it's a lot of fun. You don't get tired of it. It really is such a fun vehicle to drive, and that's one of the best aspects about it. It is fun. That's the beauty of it. Now, on the topic of what I would like to change on this vehicle personally. Now, I feel the muffler is a tad too quiet. I'd really like to get something from HKS or Grady even with the Legamax range and whatever Grady offers. I don't exactly know the name, but I really do like that HKS exhaust. It's just too quiet, but everything else in the car, I'd say it's pretty sweet. So that's what I would change. So I think you can really narrow down the ZC32 Swiss Sport into fun and simplicity. It's a simple vehicle when you look at it, and I think the most complicated thing about it is probably the VVT system in the engine. I mean, it's 3 letters that equates also to fun as well, so it all adds up if you ask me. But living with it is nice, and also just dealing with the communities with the Suzuki Swift also. I mean, you have Swift Speed also. They primarily focus on Suzuki ownership, and those are nice people to deal with. And also when you see someone on the road as well driving the same car as you, the Swift Sport, it's always nice to get a little bit of a flash or a wave to be like, hey, you got a nice car and all that. And it's been a pleasurable community, and just it's no wonder why Suzuki wins so many awards here in South Africa as of late with their brand stuff. And coming to the fun aspect of it as well, you'll never get tired driving this car. Some people feel that you may need a little bit more power or just a little bit of more handling prowess, but I don't really think that's so much of the case. And I mean, coincidentally, right now we are approaching a highway on-ramp, and as a result of that, you can never get tired of highway on-ramps with this car. So let's just slot down a little gear there. Just check our surroundings a little bit. Just be easier for other people, of course. Be respectful to other road users. Go into fourth quickly. So remember what I said about VVT being fun and just always living in it, of course. I mean, petrol 17 rand a litre, but this car really doesn't chew all that much. So all we just got to do is flick down the gear and wide open. Let it wind out. VVT is engaged. Flick into 4. Merge. Slot it into 6. Maintain that fuel economy, that mileage. That's what the Swift Sport, well, part of the Swift Sport is all about. We'll get into cornering on a track day. We'll get into that one of the days, but driving this car always leaves a smile on my face. So to conclude the final comments, should you as an individual invest in a Suzuki Swift Sport? Well, you should drive one for yourself and see, as this is one of those cars where you have to drive it to understand it. And it really shows within its drive. This is a car with character, and it definitely does get all the right feels. So, I'm Tayeedz SA here, and I'm going to be owning this Suzuki Swift Sport for a very long time, God willingly, of course. And that's all she wrote.